The Daiwa BG is one of the toughest reels on the market today. Is it worth the price, however? Figure out in today's video. All right, let's cover the specs here real quick. This is the Daiwa BG 5000. This is one of the big boys. The gear ratio on this one is 5.7 to 1. It's coming in at 22.6 ounces for weight. The drag is 22 pounds. The bearings is 6+1. The line capacity is 65 pound braid, 310 yards, and the MSRP is $120. I'll also show the specs for the 2500 size because that's another very popular size in the line that a lot of you would be using. That one is a 5.6 to 1 gear ratio. The weight is 9.3 ounces. The drag is 13.2 pounds. Bearings is also 6+1. Line capacity is 10 pound test, 150 yards, and MSRP is coming in at also $120. First off, we're gonna cover versatility. These reels can cover pretty much everything, which is awesome. These are saltwater sealed. I actually think these are a better saltwater reel than freshwater. In my opinion, they're just very, very heavy reels. And I think for bass fishing, trout fishing, pan fishing, I think it's not really worth it in my opinion. I think there's reels that perform just as well and are lighter. Although this reel is very heavy, that can also come in handy, which for any of those bigger fish species like big catfish, I know this is a popular one for like alligator gar. This would be a great sturgeon reel, striper, catfish, pretty much any of those really big species. I've also used this for crabbing. It's a great crabbing reel. It can pretty much cover all those big game stuff, as well as, I mean, if you really need to, they do make smaller sizes of this, which you can use for other things as well. I just think, in my opinion, I think for $120, you can get a reel that is much lighter than these. You're probably gonna feel a little bit more. It's gonna be easier to hold all day. But for any type of big saltwater stuff, or just any like heavier fish, if you need a really tough reel, holy smokes, these are incredible. There we go. Yep. Yep.
It's an awful powerful reel.
Oh, this thing's a tank. We sell 110 bucks, Bass Pro.
Who, me? No, nope. I got mine. That was mine.
Oh, striper!
Nice. Yep.
No way!
So you got striper out here. Look at that. Get the net. That's what you saw on the stripers.
Dang! No, I'm releasing striper. Striper, they don't need any help right now with the numbers and the laws and stuff against them.
Nice fish.
Awesome. Oh, I haven't caught a striper in a while.
Yeah, you have.
This would be a great option as well for anyone fishing off the rock. So even if you are on the bank, but you're maybe bass fishing, right, and you fish really like jagged rocky edges or like big jetties or something like that, this would be a great reel because if you do end up dropping it on the rocks or something, it's probably not gonna break. It's gonna be extremely tough. So it's something to think about too. You know, if you're a guide or something like that where you're putting your reels to the test every single day and you need something that's gonna hold up and not be kind of a wimpy reel, this is a good way to go. I've kind of already covered the durability aspect here with the versatility. Reel is super durable. Oh my gosh, this thing is an absolute tank. Don't really need to say much more about that. As for looks and function, I think this reel is an awesome looking setup here. It's pretty much all black with a little bit of gold accent on the spool and down here by the handle. It's a really good looking, sleek looking reel. It's got like some little ridges and other things too. I love the handle on this. I love the oversized handle. It's really nice to hold. It's got a good sounding drag too. I really like the sound of the drag, and it's super tough drag as well, which is really nice. Yeah, overall, the looks on this is an awesome looking reel. I love it. It's sleek. I think a lot of those higher market like saltwater reels, some of them can look really kind of ugly, frankly. And so I really like this one right here. They kept it simple, but it's a sleek, simple setup, and it looks really nice. As for the sensitivity and feel portion of this, it's kind of where this reel lacks a little bit. It's quite a heavy reel, especially the big one. This one's really freaking heavy at 22 ounces, right? That's Whew, that's a lot to hold all day. Obviously, if you're sturgeon fishing or you're something where your rod is just in a rod holder and you're using it for the 10 minutes you're fighting a fish, not a big deal. But that's where I was talking about earlier. If you guys are fishing for bass or trout and you're casting with it all day, oh man, that would take a toll on your arms for sure. I actually used this one out on the surf one time, throwing plugs for striper, and I didn't use my other reel. I decided to put this one on instead, and oh my gosh, after like an hour, I was just drained. I could not take another cast. This thing was so heavy to hold that whole entire time. But yeah, I mean, if the sensitivity, if the feel, right, if that's not something that's really that important to you, then by all means go for it. I think anything where you're just letting it sit on the bank and you're waiting for a bite, that's fine. For price, I'm kind of at a weird opinion on this one. It really depends on what you're using this for. I think for like anything like big catfish and up, I think $120 is a steal. I think there's a lot of really high-end big game reels out there that are very overpriced, and I think coming in at $120, this is going to do almost everything that those reels will do. So I think it's very, very competitive for the big game market. However, I think for the bass, trout, panfish, for some of those smaller sizes, I think for $120, there's much better options out there. I think for $100, I think the Nasky would even be a better bass and trout reel than this. I think the Sedona would be a little bit better option, and that's like half the price as this. So I think for those smaller fish species, I don't think it's worth it. For big game stuff, 100%. All right, let's go over the pros and cons real quick of the Daiwa BG. I think for starting off for the pros, number one, this reel is extremely durable, especially if you're in a situation where you need a reel that is going to kind of take a beating. This is an excellent option for that. This is also a really nice looking reel. It's super sleek with the black and gold. So, you know, at least you're styling on the water. It's also priced very good if you are looking for a heavier setup to go for big game and saltwater. I think $120 is an awesome price. All right, now let's go to cons here. The number one con is that it's a pretty heavy reel. It's definitely hard to hold all day long for a full day of jigging or casting. It's not great for finesse stuff where, you know, you're really trying to feel bites and certain things like that. I also think for $120, I don't think it's a very good reel for bass, trout, and panfish and smaller species. I think there's some better options in there price-wise. All right, I'm giving this a Humbug rating of 8 out of 10, and the reason why I gave it an 8 out of 10 is because I kind of took an average of the two ways I would use this. The first way would be, you know, saltwater, heavy, big game fish. That, I would give it a 9 out of 10. However, for bass, trout, and smaller species, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. So that's why I kind of took 8 as an average in there. Obviously, I kind of already explained that earlier, whether or not this reel would be worth it for you, depending on the fish you're chasing. If you guys enjoyed this video, you're also going to love these two reviews up here. Hopefully you guys got something out of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time on Humbug Videos.